Hello students, good morning. Welcome back to our lecture on graphing of polynomials. So in our previous lecture we have seen some examples on how to draw a graph, how to draw a polynomial, and also we have learned the concepts of intercepts, like what is meant by x-intercept, what is meant by y-intercept, and also we have discussed about functions being even functions. Even functions means when you represent minus x in place of x in a polynomial, and if the polynomial doesn't change in its value, then we'll say that the function is even. Even means the graph of the function would look symmetrical about y-axis, means it looks like a mirror image. From both the ends you will be seeing the same graph. Okay students, so today let's continue and learn some more examples and some important concepts. So finding the x-intercepts of a polynomial function. So again, what do we mean by x-intercepts? X-intercept means the values of x for which the value of the function becomes 0. So how to find x-intercepts means, again, what are the steps, students? We have learned some steps, right? So first of all, you need to equate f of x to 0, step 1. And step 2, factorize this. We have discussed this question in our previous class. Factorize this question. Factorize this equation. So by directly looking at it, you can't take out any greatest common factor. So what you will do is look at the first two terms. You can see something x square as common. Similarly here, take minus 1 as common. So if you will take x square as common, you will be left with x minus 5 minus 1 times x minus 5 equal to 0. Now again, by taking out x minus 5 common, we will be getting x minus 5 times x square minus 1. See, x minus 5 is not reducible anymore because this is the polynomial of degree 1. You can't reduce it anymore. Look at x square minus 1. X square minus 1, this is a quadratic one. You can reduce it in the form of, see, this is in the form of difference of the squares. So you can write it as x minus 1 times x plus 1. Now the next step is equate each factor to 0. Because product of 3 factors is 0, means individually any one of the factors should be 0. That means x should be 5, or x should be 1, or minus 1. So all these 5, 1, minus 1, these what we call as the zeros or the x-intercepts. Okay students, so zeros of the polynomial or x-intercepts all mean the same. So these are the 3 x-intercepts, that is minus 1, 1, 5. So if you will try to draw the graph, you will find something like this. So the x-intercept means the polynomial graph passes through this minus 1. Similarly it passes through 1. Similarly it passes through 5. So it comes down, and again it will go up something. It will be like this. See, for now we haven't learned why this graph looks like this, why this polynomial looks like this. But one thing is clear, we know the x-intercepts are minus 1, 1 and 5. We have learned how to find the x-intercepts. And students, polynomial is always smooth, means there are no sharp points, and then it is continuous. Continuous means there are no gaps. And third thing, polynomial always passes through all the x-intercepts. Passes through all the x-intercepts. So till now we have learned all these 3. Okay students, so based on 3 you can see this line, this graph is smooth, it is continuous, and it is passing through all these 3. Okay, now rest, why this looks like this, we will be learning about some more characteristics in the coming lectures. Now finding the y and x-intercepts of a polynomial function. Okay, how do we find y-intercept? Students, to find y-intercept, what you need to do is simply put x is equal to 0. Put x is equal to 0. That is, if g of x is the function, y is equal to g of x. This is the function in x. Put x is equal to 0. if you put x is equal to 0, the value what you will get, we'll call it as the y-intercept. That is g of 0. Put x is equal to 0, you will be getting 0 minus 2 whole square into 2 times 0 plus 3. If you will resolve it, you will be getting 12. So the y-intercept is 0, 12 in terms of coordinates. And x-intercepts you know how to find. X-intercept, how do you find them? Equate the polynomial to 0, factorize the polynomial, and then equate each factor to 0. So if you equate each factor to 0, you will be getting x is equal to 2 as the repetitive factor and x is equal to minus 3 by 2. So the x-intercepts are 2 and minus 3 by 2. So these are, you can find the x-intercept and y-intercept. So if you look at the graph, see the graph is smooth and it is continuous and it is passing through the x-intercepts, that is minus 3 by 2 and 2, and y-intercept. Y-intercept we have learned, right? What did we get y-intercept? Y-intercept we have got as 12. What did we say about y-intercept? When we put x is equal to 0, y-intercept should be 12. That is, in the graph, at x is equal to 0, the value of y should be 12. That is, the graph should pass through this point 0, 12. Okay. So, when you will get y-intercept, 0, that y-intercept, the graph should pass through this point. Okay, student. Now we have got one more added information about the polynomial. Polynomial graph, it should be smooth. That is, there should be no sharp points. It should be continuous. There should be no breaks. And then it should pass through all the x-intercepts because they are the zeros. Zeros of the polynomial means they should meet the axis. And then fourth point, that should pass through the y-intercept. Y-intercept means at x is equal to 0, the value of the function, whatever you will get, we'll call it as a y-intercept. Okay, students. So, hope you have understood all these 4 characteristics. Now, again, let's look at another example. Finding the x-intercepts of a polynomial function using a graph. Okay, let's try to find the x-intercepts of this function. See, this polynomial is not in factored form, has no common factors, and does not appear to be factorable using techniques previously discussed. Note, if you are familiar with rational root theorem and synthetic division, use these techniques to factor this polynomial. Show your work and hand it in for extra credit. Okay. Fortunately, we can use technology to find the intercepts. Keep in mind that some values make graphing difficult by hand. So here, see, look at this example. By looking at this example, it is difficult to factorize because you can't see anything in common. At the same time, we haven't discussed one method which is called as rational roots theorem. Rational roots theorem. See, what does it mean? I haven't discussed it with you, but let me tell you roughly. See, first of all, suppose if you will substitute some value, say put x is equal to a. Okay, put x is equal to a in h of x. Then, if h of a is equal to 0, then can we say x minus a is a factor? X minus a is factor of h of x. So this is what our factors theorem tells us, right? So now, a rational roots theorem is the theorem which lets us guess the value of a, because we can't keep on substituting every value of a to check whether it is a factor or not. Because students, if you try to check with every value, there are infinite number of real numbers. You can't keep on checking each and every value. Check a is equal to 1, check a is equal to 1.1, check a is equal to 2, check for a is equal to 3. So in that way you will be having infinite values. So it becomes redundant, okay, if you don't get any factor, immediate factor. So then what does rational roots theorem says is, suppose, see, let's do this in detail later at some point. Right now I am trying to explain this roughly. Suppose if your 0 is something a rational form of the p by q. Suppose p by q is 0 of h of x. Okay, students. Then what your rational roots theorem says is this minus 6 is there, right? Okay, the factors of minus 6 would be the suitable values for checking out with this A. That is, what is the constant over here? Constant is minus 6. What are factors for minus 6? What are factors of minus 6? Factors of minus 6 are minus 1 plus 1, minus 2 plus 2, minus 3 plus 3, minus 6 plus 6, right? Okay, students. So these are the factors of minus 6. What does rational roots theorem tells us? That, see, if there is some 0 of this form, then one of these would be a factor of this h of x. One of these values, that is one of the factor of the constant, is going to satisfy h of x, or it is going to be the 0 of h of x. Let's see whether it is true. See, look at x. Look at 1. Find h of 1. H of 1 is 1 cube plus 4 times 1 square plus 1 minus 6. So this is 1 plus 4 plus 1 minus 6. Look at this. So it is 0. So h of 1 is 0. So we can say that for this, x minus 1 is a factor. Okay. And then use your synthetic division method. You know how to use synthetic division method, right? 1, 4, 1 minus 6. Divide with 1. So you will be getting 1. Here 5, here 6. So this is going to be 0. So that means the quotient is going to be x square plus 5x plus 6. And even you can factorize this. Now this is simple. If you will factorize, you will be getting x plus 2 into x plus 3. So once you know one of the factor, then the rest you can find them by using the simple synthetic division method, whatever we have learned. Okay, students. So all these theorems would help us in simplifying, in knowing more information about the given polynomial. See, whatever has looked hard, finding the zeros, now just by using this rational roots theorem, okay, we were able to find 1 0. Once we know 1 0, we have used synthetic division and we have reduced the polynomial to a quadratic form, and we know how to find the roots of a quadratic form. So we will get this one. And see, by surprisingly, if you look at all the zeros, 1 0 is 1. The other zeros we are getting as minus 2 and minus 3. See, minus 2 and minus 3. So our rational roots theorem says that whenever zeros are of this form, I mean they are rational in nature, okay, they have to be factors of the constant. Okay, students, they have to be factors of students. This is very important. In case if you didn't understand anything or you are having any sort of confusion, please raise it through WhatsApp or try to contact me. I will explain you, okay, again. But don't miss it out. Now, so looking at the graph, we have got the zeros as 1, minus 2 and minus 3. Okay, students. Then what about the y-intercept? How do you calculate y-intercept? Y-intercept we will calculate by putting x is equal to 0. So if you will put out x is equal to 0, 0, 0, 0, minus 6. So the y-intercept is going to be minus 6. That means the graph passes through 0, minus 6. So hence this is the polynomial graph. It is passing through all the x-intercept and it passes through 0, minus 6. Now we can check whether these are correct by substituting these values for x and verifying that. See, by putting out these values, you can observe that they'll become 0. Okay, students. So each x-intercept corresponds to a 0 of the polynomial function and each 0 yields a factor. So we can now write the polynomial in factored form. Okay. So all these theorems, whatever we are learning, factors theorem, remainders theorem, rational root theorem, or synthetic division, long division method, so everything is related with each other. So all those cumulatively we are applying to analyze the graph in pictorial form, okay, or by looking at the graph we could get many more vital information. So identifying zeros and their multiplicities. So till now we have seen examples of how to find the zeros, but there are some examples where we have seen some zeros are repeating, that is x minus 2 whole square, x minus 2 whole cube. What if the factor is repetitive, that is it is repeating multiple number of times, more than one time? Let's see how it, okay, how that affects the graph of the polynomial. Students, the zeros, okay, they behave differently at various x-intercept. The graphs, okay, the graphs behave differently at various x-intercepts. What does it mean? Means what are x-intercept? Means x-intercepts are nothing but the zeros of the polynomial, okay, the points at which the polynomial becomes zero. But there are different types of x-intercepts. Some x-intercepts are repeating in nature, some are not. Say for example, if you look at this, the x-intercept for these are minus 3, 2 and minus 1. But if you look at this, minus 3, it is repeating only once. How many times it is repeating? This factor is repeating only once. Repeating once. What about 2? 2, this factor is repeating twice. This is repeating twice. What about x plus 1? This factor is repeating thrice. X minus, that is minus 1, is repeating thrice. Okay, students. So all these are x-intercepts only, but each of these factor is repeating different number of times. How do they affect the graph of the polynomial? So that is what we are going to learn in this section. See, notice in figure, the behavior of the function at each of the x-intercept is different. See, look at here. At x is equal to minus 1, see the graph, it is just like, see, it is crossing, but it is crossing like this. Whereas at x is equal to minus 3, it is simply crossing like this. It is crossing like a straight line. Okay. At x is equal to minus 3. Whereas at x is equal to minus 1, here also it is crossing the x-axis, but it is crossing with a flatness. Whereas at x is equal to 2, see the graph, it is coming, it is touching at this, and again it is going upward. Means this line, it is acting like a tangent to it. See here at x is equal to 2, the graph is not crossing the x-axis. See, if it is coming, it is just touching the axis, and again it is going upward. Okay, students. So these three observations are important. Though all these three are the x-intercepts, the graph is behaving differently. What are the differences? See, at x is equal to minus 3, the graph is simply crossing the x-axis. Okay, this is at minus 3. Whereas at x is equal to minus 1, what is happening is, the graph is, it is, instead of crossing the x-axis directly like a straight line, it is, see, it is like a way, you know, it is flat, and then it is moving, and then it is crossing. Okay, and then at x is equal to minus 3, the graph, it is hitting the x-axis, and then again it is bouncing back. It is not crossing the x-axis. So these are different, three different types. And why they are happening, how to recognize their effects. See, the x-intercept minus 3 is the solution of the equation x plus 3 equal to 0. The graph passes directly through the x-intercept at x is equal to minus 3. The factor is linear. What does it mean? Means it is having a degree of 1. So the behavior near the intercept is like that of a straight line. See, its degree is 1. So degree 1 means it represents a straight line. So it is behaving like a straight line. Okay. So it passes directly through the intercept. We call this a single zero because the zero corresponds to a single factor of the function. Okay, students. That means whenever you will come across a factor, linear factor, which is not repeating in nature, which repeats only once, then the graph simply cuts the x-axis. Okay, it just moves like a straight line at that intercept. Now, the x-intercept 2. X-intercept 2 is, see, repeating twice. It is a repeated solution of the equation x minus 2 whole square equal to 0. See, the graph touches the x-axis at the intercept and changes direction. The factor is quadratic, degree 2. So the behavior near the intercept is like that of a quadratic. See, because this is quadratic in nature, okay, and quadratic graph at its vertex, it looks like this, it looks like a parabola. So for that reason, see, for that reason the graph, it bounces back exactly at this 0 because it is quadratic in nature. Okay, students. So hope you are able to differentiate these things. For a linear factor, it acts like a straight line. It simply cuts the cross axis. For a quadratic factor, it is quadratic in nature. So it comes, hits the x-axis and it bounces back. It doesn't cross the x-axis. And then the third one. See, the factor is repeated. That is the factor x minus 2 appears twice. So the number of times a given factor appears in the factor of the equation or polynomial, we'll call it as multiplicity. See, this is again an important term. Multiplicity. What does multiplicity means? Multiplicity is the number of times a factor is repeating. Number of times a factor is repeating. For example, in a previous example, x plus 1. Sorry, x plus 3. This is a factor which is repeating once. So multiplicity is 1. Similarly, x plus 1. This is a factor which is repeating thrice. So multiplicity is 3. And then x minus 2. This is repeating twice. So multiplicity is 2. Okay, students. So if you know the exponent to the factor, okay, that exponent will call it as multiplicity, also known as multiplicity. So the number of times a given factor appears in the factor form of the equation of the polynomial, will call it as multiplicity. The 0 associated with this factor x is equal to 2. So for example, x is equal to 2. It has multiplicity 2 because the factor x minus 2 is occurring twice. Okay, students. Now the x-intercept minus 1 is the repeated solution of the equation x plus 1 whole cube. So what is the multiplicity over here? Multiplicity is 3. The graph passes through the axis at the intercept but flattens out a bit first. This factor is cubic. See, the cubic polynomials, they look like something like this. They'll flatten out. They'll flatten out. That is the characteristic of a cubic curve. And since this x plus 1, okay, it is a factor of which is repeating, which is of multiplicity 3. Okay, it is a 0 with multiplicity 3. So the graph, okay, the graph at that x-intercept minus 3, it flattens out. So the behavior near the intercept is like that of a cubic with the same S shape near the intercept as the toolkit function f of x is equal to x cube. So even if you look at the graph of the x cube, it looks something like this, like the S shape. So the same characteristic you will come across whenever there is a cubic factor or the factor with multiplicity 3, always at the x-intercept you will find the same kind of flattening out. Okay. Whereas if you come across a factor with multiplicity 2, you will be seeing something like quadratic in nature, something like this or like this, any one of this. So there the curve doesn't cut the axis. Okay, students, hope you have understood these three different characteristics. Linear factor means it simply crosses out, okay, cuts the axis and moves to the other side, whereas second degree quadratic factor means it just bounces back, okay, like quadratic in nature. It means the x-axis acts like a tangent at that point, touching the quadratic, touching the curve at only one point, that x-intercept. Similarly, at a cubic factor, the factor with multiplicity 3, the graph flattens out that intercept and crosses the x-axis. And one more important thing is, see, at factors, okay, whose multiplicity is odd, always the graph crosses the axis, like from one side to the other side. Okay, so for example, for linear case it has crossed like this, right? Similarly, for cubic case it is simply flattening out. Okay, this flattening nature increases, but this crossing the axis, okay, from one end to other end, it keeps happening. It keeps happening whenever the factories of odd degree. Whereas for even degree factors, you will not see that the polynomial being crossing. Okay, it doesn't cross the axis, instead it gets bounced back. So for zeros with even multiplicities, the graph touch or are tangent to the x-axis. The graphs touch or are tangent to the x-axis. For zeros with odd multiplicities, the graphs cross or intersect the x-axis. Okay, students. So let's look at some examples regarding whatever we are saying. See here, p is equal to 1. Say it is a single zero. Then you can see that the graph simply cuts the axis. Okay, students. The graph simply crosses the axis. And then, say for a 0 with multiplicity 2, you will see the graph to be quadratic in nature. Means at the intercept, the graph simply bounces back. It doesn't cross the x-axis for a 0 with multiplicity 2. And then, for a 0 with multiplicity 3, what you can observe is, see, the graph crosses the axis, but it flattens out at the intercept. It flattens out and then it crosses, because it is cubic in nature. Okay, students. Now, for higher even powers such as 4, 6 and 8, the graph will still touch and bounce off of the horizontal axis. But for each increasing even power, the graph will appear flatter as it approaches and leaves the x-axis. So only this flattening thing would increase as the exponent increases, but the characteristic of bouncing back would remain the same. Similarly, for higher order powers such as 5, 7 and 9, the graph would still cross the horizontal axis. This crossing would happen, but this flattening would increase. For each increasing odd power, the graph will appear flatter as it approaches and leaves the x-axis. Okay, students. Now, graphical behavior of polynomials at x-intercepts. So, if a polynomial contains a factor of the form x minus h whole power p, the behavior near the x-intercept h is determined by the power p. If a polynomial contains a factor of the form x minus h whole power p, the behavior near the x-intercept h is determined by the power p, because depending on whether the power p is odd or even, depending on the number, that is depending on the multiplicity, you can guess out how the flattening looks like. So we say that x is equal to h is a 0 of multiplicity p. Okay, students. X is equal to h is a 0 of multiplicity p. The graph of a polynomial function will touch but not cross the x-axis at zeros with even multiplicities. Because at even multiplicities, what happens to the graph is, the graph, it meets the x-intercept and it touches and it bounces back. It crosses the axis, horizontal axis, only at odd multiplicities, not for even multiplicities. The graph will cross the x-axis at zeros with odd multiplicities. And second thing, the sum of the multiplicities is no greater than the degree of the polynomial function. This is the fundamental theorem of algebra. Okay, the proof is beyond your syllabus. But what does fundamental theorem says that if you are dealing with an nth degree polynomial, then sum of all the multiplicities, it would be less than the degree of the polynomial. The sum of the multiplicities is no greater than degree of the polynomial. That is, the sum of all the multiplicities is always less than or equal to n. The sum of the multiplicities, they are not going to be greater than n. Okay, students. So, given a graph of a polynomial function of degree n, so these are the steps. Identify the zeros. You know how to identify the zeros, that is factorize. If it is not factorizable, use your rational roots theorem, use factors theorem, identify, and then identify their multiplicities. Okay, students. And then if the graph crosses the x-axis and appears almost linear at the intercept, then it is a single zero. If the graph touches the x-axis, if the graph touches the, this is a single zero, if the graph touches the x-axis and bounces back, then this is the zero with even multiplicity. If the graph crosses the x-axis, it is a zero with odd multiplicity. So for example, here it is crossing, so this multiplicity is odd. Similarly, you can look out like this. Again, here it is of odd multiplicity, and then the sum of all of the multiplicities is no greater than n. Okay, students. So these are the key concepts, whatever we have discussed in summary. Okay, students. In our next class, let's look at some more interesting properties of the graphs of the polynomials. With this, I'll wind up our today's lecture. Thank you.